Hi everyone, Bear from Bear Reads Books. I'm from regional Australia and this is my very first Booktube video and I'm really excited. I've been lurking around on Booktube for a long time. I've followed bunches of great readers who have so much good things to say about some fantastic books. I've seen some I've had some amazing recommendations from all over the world, which has really carried my reading over the last couple of years into different directions that I never dreamed possible. I live in regional Australia. I'm a middle-aged family guy who just happens to love reading, and I like reading broadly across all genres. I'll read fiction and non-fiction, poetry, short stories, literary fiction, genre fiction, even YA and children's books. I love everything. I just love a good story. And what I want to do today is share with you, in my very first video, I want to share with you the things that I'm reading now, the things that I've just finished or I've got coming up, so that you understand where I'm coming from and what I like and what I don't like. What can you expect from Bear's Booktube videos? So you're not going to see reviews of books that are just hitting the stores right now. You're going to see reviews that maybe the books have been sitting on my bedside table for up to 12 months. I get excited when new books come out, I buy them, and then they may sit there for anywhere from a month to 12 months. So what I review is what I'm reading right now. And to give you a bit of a snapshot, here are the books that I bought just in the last week. So these are all the books that I've purchased in the last week. The ones that look a little secondhand came from my local library, who are doing a clearance book sale. It's about half of the books you see here. The other half were brand new and just things that I'd heard about that sounded great, so I bought them. Whether I get to read any of these in the next little while, I don't know. Hopefully, I still read a lot, but if I get to these, great. If I don't, you'll see them again later. The one that I'm super excited about in this list is Kynan Jones, whose book Cove, such a little tiny book, but is it a novel or a novella? Is it a short story or even lyric poetry? You can see the different style. I really don't know, but it's been super well recommended that when I saw it at the library book sale for 50 cents, I thought I had to have it. So there's my pile of books just purchased in the last week. That'll go straight to my TBR and hopefully get read sometime soon. This week, what am I reading? For the 90th anniversary of Faber books, they've released a whole bunch of these short stories. I bought one and I'm going to the bookshop again this afternoon to buy more. For $7, they are a bargain. In your part of the world, they may be a slightly different price. Faber 90s, to celebrate the 90th anniversary of Faber. I got one by Lorrie called Terrific Mother. It is a dark, dark read, anything but terrific. It is a great story, but certainly not uplifting. It's about a woman who lives through a tragedy, and the effects of that tragedy is what she is trying to bring herself back from. And it's a good read. It's pretty dark though, but I highly recommend. There's a whole bunch of authors on this list that have released these little short stories for Faber 90. Get yourself some. They are easy to read and fascinating little stories. This time of the year is Booker Prize season, my favourite time of year. I try to get through some of the long list. Later in the year I try and get through as much of the short list as I can, and I absolutely try and read the winner every single year. The ones I'm looking forward to the most and that I've already purchased, Max Porter's Lanny. That is on my very soon to be read list. I need to get to this really quickly. The reviews it's had have been phenomenal. You know, the kind of emotional response to a book that would bring a reader to tears, and that's the kind of that kind of a response to a book is exactly what I'm looking for. I'm looking to be emotionally invested in a book. I don't need to be brought to tears, but I need to feel something from a book, and from all reports, Max Porter's Lanny is the one to do that. And only a little book, but I'm going to be reading that really soon. Also up for a Booker Prize this year is another Irish writer called Kevin Barry, and while I haven't bought his book yet, what I have done is I found a few of his short stories that are available for nothing on the internet, and I'm going to read those this week. So he's published for a few short stories on publications like the Irish Times, freely available, easy to get. Check him out if you've never checked him out and you're not sure about buying his book. Okay, also this week, sad news that Toni Morrison has passed away. And Toni Morrison was one of the first authors that I read when I went to university and studied literature, that rather than get turned off the writing and the stories that she was doing because I was studying it or writing an essay, I was completely enraptured with her stories. And still to this day, I fondly remember everything I've ever read of Toni Morrison's. What I'm choosing to do in the near future is to read all of her canon of work from beginning to end in chronological order, starting in the next few weeks. A few years ago I did the same thing with John Steinbeck, and there was 26 books, and I spent the year reading nothing but John Steinbeck, and it was a wonderful way to experience an author, and I'm going to try and do that again with Toni Morrison. Before I start doing that, I've found an essay that she wrote a little while ago on the Guardian website that I'm going to read, and then a critical response to that essay as well. So I'm going to read a little bit of Toni's work as well as other people's response to her work, and then dive into her entire back catalogue, starting with the first one. I'll let you know how that goes. Last two books on the list is I joined a book club, a little tiny book club for classics. Now, I live in a town in regional Australia, about 2 hours away from Brisbane, and there are book clubs here, of course, but they're all during the week and I work full time. So I joined this book club in Brisbane. That's a 2-hour drive, and I was enticed into this book club because, first of all, it was classics. Love my classics. And of the 3 books on offer for the rest of the year, I hadn't even heard of 2 of the authors, one of which is Kate Chopin, whose book, The Awakening and Other Stories, has been wonderful. And I'm right in the middle of this now. I've finished The Awakening, which is the large novella that forms the first part of this book. These are all part of a Macmillan Collector's Edition set, and they are beautifully presented little volumes. All this small size, very inexpensive, lots of different, I think there's a couple of 100 different ones you can choose from on your local bookstore and whichever ones they're stocking. I'd never heard of Kate Chopin, and her book The Awakening has been an eye-opener for me. Published in 1899, and it really tells the story of this woman who is truly awakening. She is married with children, and over time, in a holiday by the seaside, in the absence of her husband, she meets a man called Robert. At its time, this was really considered a controversial book, almost like a sex book, but there's no sex in it. I think she kisses him once, and it's her finding her own strength in what she's capable of doing, outside of the boundaries of a marriage and of being a wife and mother. So it's a great story, and I've certainly enjoyed not just that story, The Awakening, but a few of the other short stories that I've already done from this book. If you can find it in any format, go for it. This one in these beautiful Macmillan Collector's Editions are superb. And finally, this book has been on my list for an awfully long time. Since it came out, it is The Stolen Bicycle by Wu Ming Yi. It was long listed for the Man Booker International in 2018, and since that time, since it came out, it's been on my to be read list. And only because of this beautiful cover and the lovely artwork and the interesting concept of the story, which is a family story of a man trying to find his father's stolen bicycle. Even though his father has also disappeared, he seems to be a little bit more obsessed with finding the bicycle than finding out what happened to his father. But anyway, so he's trying to find not his missing father, but his father's bicycle. And in amongst all of that, it tells the story of the bicycle manufacturing industry throughout Taiwan and China and Japan. It's a fascinating read. It's not what I expected it to be, though. So, The Stolen Bicycle by Wu Ming Yi. Not exactly what I was expecting, but still a really beautiful read with some clunky translation. Really interesting ways that they've tried to intersperse the story with some of the history of the bicycle manufacturing industry in Asia. I liked it. Still to finish it, we'll see how we go. Finally, expect one video a week from me at the moment. This is all new to me. Hopefully you enjoy my videos. Keep coming back for more. I will keep sharing the books that I'm reading or about to read or have just finished, and I'll match that with some little reviews on Goodreads. Over time, I'd like to have an Instagram account and a Facebook page and maybe a blog where you can go and visit me and see what else is going on. And as well, I'm happy to share with you all the books I've read, all the books I've bought, like I did today, and maybe have a look around my town and come with me on some travels around my local area. But thank you for coming and watching my video. It is my first one, so it's a bit clunky, and I apologise for that, but please come back and see my next one. I'm really keen to be sharing my love of books with all of you. So that's about it. Thank you. We'll see you again soon. Bye-bye.